All right, welcome to another episode, or this is actually episode number 3 of Nerd Shit, where we discuss the sciences behind everything from fitness, supplementation, bodybuilding, fat loss, so on and so forth. We try to take complex things and try to dumb them down as much as possible. Not that the audience is dumb per se, but however, it's really not necessary to understand all the different mechanisms and everything that goes into physiology, exercise, physiology, so on and so forth. However, it does help to understand the systems to a certain degree. That way, you can make good decisions based off of, whether a program has merit, whether it's something that, belongs in a certain cycle, so on and so forth. And I'm actually here in my garage gym, so I got my squat rack back there. Since, the restrictions ended and everything else, I've been training at my private gym, as you guys will see in my video, which I prefer because they have a lot more equipment, though I do like my garage gym. I like just being around people and everything else. So, back on track. What is it that we're going to talk about today? Can you change your metabolism? And the short answer is yes. The long answer is there's a lot that goes into it. So, what really inspired me to make this video was, I took my little sister out for her birthday the other day, and she's like, I was researching that you can literally go from having a slow metabolism to having a fast metabolism. Is it true? And I said, well, actually yes, but we just have to understand how human metabolism actually works. Not the nitty gritty of okay, things enter the stomach, becomes chine, you got the 3 layers of the stomach that slowly, enter the past the pyloric sphincter into the small intestine, fats get, absorbed, become chylomicrons, and all these other things. So it's not necessary. What we want to know is what happens to energy once it's actually absorbed in the body. And how is it burned? What really constitutes the human metabolism? And there's actually 4 things that constitute the human metabolism. You have your resting metabolic rate, which is the amount of energy that is necessary to basically be alive. So this is, as the name suggests, you're laying down all day doing nothing. It's your resting metabolic rate. So, usually this is going to be the biggest bang for your buck, the amount of energy that you'll be consuming on a daily basis. Things from breathing, running your, endocrine system, running your, all your different organs and all these other things. Next, we have your NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And this is the basically physical activity. I am going to take this jacket off now because it is fucking hot in here. Your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, this is your physical activity. This is the things that you do when you're not at the gym doing a structured program. Going for a walk, gardening, walking from room to room, doing housework, it's not exercise per se, but you're moving. This is the second biggest energy, I guess you can say, consumer in your human metabolism. Going up the totem pole, next we have is exercise activity thermogenesis, and this is the amount of energy that you burn through exercise. Now, not all exercise is created equal. Some forms of training are more energy expensive than others. Cardio and aerobic based training is obviously going to be more energy expensive than weight training, and that just largely has to do with the fact that you're just doing a lot of work in a shorter condensed period of time, and you get an elevated heart rate and all these other things that happen. With weight training, if you take the amount of work that you do in your totality for whatever designated period of time that you happen to be training, being anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes, it's actually not a work. If you time the amount of sets, how much each set takes, anywhere less than 60 seconds, you do 3 of them, it's really not a lot of physical activity, and it's also not very energy expensive. However, there are some metabolic responses from weight training that can be favorable, and that's why it's good to include both into your program. Lastly, we have the thermic effect of food. And basically it takes energy to create energy, so to break down all those food obviously requires energy to take the protein, break them down to amino acids, take the carbohydrates, break them down to fructose and glucose and all the other, simple carbohydrates, and then, take the fat, break them down from these very large molecules into something that could actually be absorbed. So, that's going to be the last thing that you do. And it's anywhere between 15 to 10% of your total energy expenditure. So if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, it's gonna require about, you know, anywhere from 150 to 200 calories just to basically break down that food. There is no such thing as foods that have negative calories. That does not exist. So we'll just go ahead and just throw that out there. So when my sister asked, can you go from having a slow metabolism to a fast metabolism? Actually, all these variables can be manipulated and changed over time. Like, you can boost your resting metabolic rate, obviously becoming heavier or more muscular and more aerobically fit and all these other things can boost your resting metabolic rate. Increasing your NEAT, like your step count, how much movement you have, how much physical activity you get in a day, that will increase your metabolism. Your exercise activity thermogenesis, like, I mean, I'm sounding redundant at this point, but all of these things basically will boost your metabolism, because when we're talking about metabolism, we're basically talking about taking energy and utilizing it as a fuel substrate. So yes, you can boost your metabolism. There are some people who have a slow metabolism, and the thing is, it's like usually the people with a slow metabolism, they may have a lower than normal resting metabolic rate. That may be the case, but as you can see, you can compensate. Not so much with a thermic effect of food, because the only way to manipulate that is to eat more food, which I don't recommend if you are trying to lose weight. But like your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, your exercise activity thermogenesis, those are things that you can use to compensate for the fact that your metabolism is slow. So you're not literally like doomed to just gain weight and just be this fat storing machine. However, if you're somebody who gains fat, you have more fat storing enzymes. So basically, like, you know, you take energy and you're more efficient at storing fat, and you also have more fat cells. So it just makes it easier to gain weight, and it makes it actually a lot harder to lose weight or to lose the total amount of body fat. But at the end of the day, for the people listening, if you really have trouble losing weight, it's not going to help you to focus on whether you have a slow or fast metabolism. You really have to focus on like the macro details and not the micro details. What are the macro details? How many calories are you eating a day? Like, if you're like consistently and unconsciously, and I say this because not everybody is aware, unconsciously overeating, this will lead to a weight gain over time. You know, and on the other side of the coin, you could also, you know, be underperforming, or you're not moving as much as you think. Like, you go to the office and then you go and you do cardio for like an hour, but you don't realize like you're only getting like 2,000 to 4,000 steps a day. Like, so in totality, you're not that physically active. And we know that exercise activity thermogenesis, unless you're literally going balls to wall, like on a bicycle ergometer or something for like an hour straight, your heart rate's like anywhere between like 70 to 85% of your maximal heart rate, and you're like literally just hammering it, maybe even longer, you're not going to create enough of a yield with that exercise activity thermogenesis. So, you know, it's not something that I would really hang my hat on. What I would hang my hat on is getting control of how many calories that you are consuming. This will require a lot of responsibility on your part, where you have to like weigh your food. You got to download those tracking apps. It sounds a lot more laborious actually than it really is, because once you get used to it, it's really like a non-issue. Secondly, you gotta, you know, identify how physically active you actually are. So I recommend either getting like an Apple Watch, a Garmin, but even like for most of us, we have smartphones. You can download a step tracker. I mean, I don't know how accurate they are, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say they're, for what it is, it's probably going to be, you know, pretty accurate. You just put it in your pocket, wear it everywhere, and it'll track how many steps you're getting. See how physically active you are, because remember, non-exercise activity thermogenesis has a huge effect on your overall metabolic rate. You know, so to kind of bring it all in and to sum it up, yes, you can speed up your metabolism, but it does require some effort. The one that has the most, I guess you can say, effect on your weight gain or weight loss is your resting metabolic rate. This would require you to gain weight in the form of muscle. Then we have the, you know, physical activity, then the exercise, and the thermic effect of food. And if you're somebody that literally just struggles, you know, wrapping your head around this, I offer online coaching. But hopefully this video was informative, because And I also want to like finish with saying like you can boost your metabolism. You're not going to go from burning like 1,500 calories to 3,000 calories. You just aren't. Like there are drugs that bodybuilders use to boost their metabolic rate, and those don't even have that much of a profound effect. Like things like thyroid hormone, which isn't a bodybuilding drug, but bodybuilders use it. Clenbuterol, which isn't a bodybuilder drug, but bodybuilders use it. And all these various other compounds that literally like, you know, shift the metabolic, I guess you can say, continuum in through the right direction to where you can literally just burn fat much more effortlessly. However, I don't recommend that because it will kill you. But anyways, that's my video for today. Can you change your metabolism? Hopefully it was helpful. I try to keep them under 15 minutes. This is going to be just under 11 minutes, which is awesome. Like and subscribe if you guys have anything that you want to say. My next Nerd Shit Talk is basically going to be talking about injuries and the pain spasm cycle, what to do when you're injured, like even things that you may not think, like, oh, I have like pain in my elbow when I bench press, and the next thing you know, it's like now you have, you know, basically olecranon bursitis, and you're, you know, you can't extend your elbow, and you're in pain all the time, and you can't sleep in a good position. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to talk about my injury and how I overcame it and the step-by-step process that most people should take when dealing with these things. But anyways, have a good day. Welcome to the dungeon where a lot of gains were made during the pandemic. Have a great day.